To this morning's Seifel discussion on the mango. Where would the group like to start?
Erectile dysfunction.
In? What character?
George primarily, and then potentially Jerry.
Right, okay. So let's talk about George. So what did you say?
Performance anxiety.
Performance anxiety. How so?
I mean, he was just like, he got into his head initially about like her not being satisfied, and then he's like, all right, like he keeps like trying to like do better, but it like just keeps getting in his head, and he just can't do it.
All right. I think there's several teaching points to make given where the conversation has started. So I think first, to make sure we just verify the terminology. If somebody presented to your outpatient practice with a chief complaint of a performance anxiety, you're going to do a comprehensive psychiatric assessment. But with regard to the chief complaint, what initially comes to mind? Doc, I'm here to see you for performance. I mean, you're going to ask your patient, right? Well, why are you here today? Well, I'm not going to say that bluntly, but what brings you in today? The chief complaint is performance anxiety. You're going to certainly elucidate what exactly they mean by that. You're going to do that in any case. But in your mind, it would conjure something that will either be verified or not. What comes to mind? There's no right answer. Yeah, that's it. And it's noteworthy that there was a recent revision to the DSM, that's in 2013, and that's the DSM-5, where for social anxiety disorder, performance subtype was actually teased out. All right, so that's actually a thing now. And the reason why performance subtype was actually identified as a specifier is because of how common it is. All right, so a little bit of tangent here. So let's say in your psychiatric assessment that begins to be substantiated, that's actually what your patient meant, and that will allow you to start beginning to develop a differential. That differential is going to guide the way in which your assessment goes. M2, you have a nice structured interview that you read from, but by the time you're at the end of your PGY1 with me, that structured interview is going to allow you to, or it's going to provide the framework from which you will take these tangents. And those tangents are guided by what is being developed in your mind as a differential during the time of the assessment. Make sense? Right? Okay. We often think of the differential coming at the very end of your presentation, and that part is true. But in the non-presentation circumstance of the actual psychiatric assessment, that same exact differential guides your questions, and you deviate from that structure. Right? All that said, as you're developing this differential of social anxiety disorder, what else comes to mind, and what questions will you ask your patient?
Maybe like, what is he nervous about? And why is he so anxious?
In psychiatry, you never go wrong asking why. I should not say, never say never. You rarely go wrong in investigating the why. Right? So unfortunately, for teaching purposes, I'm not going to give you the answer because then I'm spoon feeding you. But this is exactly what you would do. So I'm going to put the burden on you, the group, to develop your differential for the why, the reason for. And that will allow you to come up with different diagnoses and therefore different questions to ask to support those diagnoses as you're talking to your patient. So what's that differential when we think of social anxiety disorder? When is your shelf exam?
Tomorrow.
I thought it was. I probably should have framed that question differently. In preparation for tomorrow, if social anxiety disorder is choice A, what can you almost bet will be B, C, and D?
GAD?
Potentially, yeah.
Panic disorder?
Panic, okay. Avoidant personality is probably going to come up because that avoidance behavior is going to be the presenting symptom probably in the first sentence maybe. And
I feel like in George's case specifically, erectile dysfunction could also be on the different.
In his case, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Others?
PTSD.
PTSD very often presents with avoidance, right? What's agoraphobia?
Oh, the fear of leaving your house or thinking something catastrophic or bad will happen if you're not in like your safe space. Going anywhere, I feel like you're right if I'm not wrong.
Right. It's really more towards where you're going, and it's the fear of not being able to escape before being debilitated or embarrassed. Right. In social anxiety disorder, the fear isn't necessarily of being embarrassed. It's the actual public speaking itself. It's the actual task itself, and that'll help you differentiate B from C. Social anxiety disorder from agoraphobia. All right. So again, a lot to think about here. How do you tease all of the above away from avoidant personality disorder?
Specific examples of what they're avoiding and why.
Yeah. And if you don't get the specificity in that clinical vignette, what pertinent positive might you see to really verify that this is a personality disorder?
Spread that across multiple domains
Yeah,
of life.
right. It's stable over time, and at any point or points in time, it's a multi-venue, right? It's in multiple settings, right? Make sense? All right. In addition to what George presents in terms of anxiety, rule out performance anxiety, there is the aspect of sexual dysfunction as well. What's in your differential diagnosis for that aspect of George's chief complaint, or what you observed in George Costanza in the Mango?
Physiologic.
That's going to be number one. Now, what's really interesting is that in the DSM, there's actually print vocabulary for almost every single other condition that's published, that you have to first rule out the direct physiologic effects of a substance or an underlying medical condition. I'd have to look again, but I don't think it's actually in there because it's intuitive that all of the above is not due to an organic pathology. Give me something in your clinical vignette that would allow you to say, no, this is organic, if somebody like George were to present on your exam tomorrow.
Nocturnal tumescence.
Yep. What else? Oh, by the way, for the undergrad, what do you mean by that?
If somebody is getting like night erections, then that would be not physiologic.
Right. Well, what the nocturnal tumescence is telling us is, I can pronounce that quickly, is telling us is that there's nothing physiologically wrong during the night if the individual is able to obtain or maintain an erection, right? What else? How about past medical history?
Like for the differentials, for George, I mean, if there's cardiovascular risk factors, then you would be worried about peripheral.
Yeah, any evidence of systemic atherosclerotic disease, right? Because atherosclerosis in one vascular bed is highly predictive of atherosclerosis in other vascular beds, including that which vasculates penile tumescence. All right, other questions about George here? Any other observations about George Costanza in the Mango?
Is it?
You go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Is it possible, like, when he actually ate the mango, and he had some sort of rush of something that helped him? Like, maybe there's like the vitamins and the B12 that, as he said.
So the fact that he ate the mango and it appears that his condition improved suggests that there might be an organic pathology in terms of vitamin supplement. I don't think so. Yeah, not as far as I understand the science. Anybody here? You guys have taken nutrition and basic sciences.
Coming up.
I don't even
More
think
recently-
mangoes have B12.
I have to look. I don't think
Pretty
so.
sure it's like dairy and meat.
I did look it up. There was some sort of actually link. I don't know if that was
Is
like
it?
real. I mean, it
He
was-
had one slice though. He's like,
Yeah, I don't.
I
I'm
think
not
it was
sure.
more psychologic.
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you got there?
I don't know, just some straw. I don't know.
What's the website?
Yeah, it's called Stronger Man's Health.
Yeah, I don't know if it's evidence-based. All right. Other characters other than George in the manga. Jerry, what's going on with Jerry in this episode?
We found out that Elaine lied about their like history, kind of, and he was just kind of like obsessing over it, and he wanted to like, I guess, feel better about himself that he can do it. So.
Yep.
Cute narcissistic injury.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, we don't talk about Jerry's character demonstrating cluster B traits all that much. I mean, he's self-absorbed, and he surrounds himself with people that are similarly self-absorbed. Mm-hmm. That's his friend group. That's a circle. But among those, and certainly Elaine and George, Jerry kind of ranks a distant third, like bronze medalist when it comes to those cluster B traits, but here we are. Yeah, it does happen. Now, remember, this is more of a clinical pearl than anything you're probably going to see tomorrow on your exam. But what else would be in our differential beyond the cluster B personalities, given the way Jerry reacted?
OCD, maybe? OCD?
He definitely, yeah, he definitely has aspects of that cluster. It's really the personality disorder, the cluster C personality of obsessive compulsive personality disorder. That definitely is in play here. That need for control, which is lost here. There's some aspect of that, sure. What I was trying to get from you is completely normal. Remember, we always have to give our patients the benefit of the doubt, irrespective of the quality of their chief complaint, no matter how much it jumps off the page at us and fits the textbook and what we teach you, M1 through M blank. Train your brain to say, no, that's normal, until your patient convinces you that it's not. Right? Always give them that unconditional positive regard. So that's something we'd have to deeply consider as clinicians. Other aspects of Jerry's behavior you'd like to discuss this morning. We're discussing the manga.
I don't necessarily have like a pathology for this, but I got really frustrated when he was asking Elaine to like give him another chance and she said no. Like, you know, I feel like in this era where like no means no, but I don't know if like it was different in the culture back then, but she said no and he's like, please, no, come on, no. He would not accept her refusal.
Yeah. And what's really interesting beyond everything else, and that's socio-cultural impact on behavior, and a refocus on the interpersonal, is that these are obviously former lovers that have found a way to be true friends, nonetheless. And despite that, he feels the need to actually prove himself, not to her, but to himself. So there's multiple layers of this. Clearly, this behavior would be subject to significant psychotherapy if it were recurrent and impacted behavior or impacted functioning, and you can make the case that it does interpersonally, given the nature of this very episode. No idea. I can't really say much more beyond that in terms of what that psychotherapy would entail, but boy, yeah.
When I was like doing research, there's like another episode where they try to be friends with benefits, but that doesn't work out. Just find the whole dynamic like weird. Like you date somebody, then you're really true friends, and you sleep together sometimes not. Like I don't know. I feel like Elaine and Jerry to me are weird for that.
That's interesting. And do we know? I know the exact episode you're referring to. The title of the episode is escaping me. Do we know if that episode occurred before or after the manga?
I think it was before. It was like early days. Like
Was it?
Season 1, Season 2, I think.
That makes it even more troublesome. Because the reason why they've mutually come up with the idea is because neither of them are dating or have dated recently. So they identify each other as a possible sexual outlet. So that if that did occur before, that would absolutely and positively have been brought up in psychotherapy in this fictional case, right? So it's hard. It would be hard to dismiss that. That's a good point. Other characters here that you want to discuss?
Maybe the shopkeeper from the fruit store.
Yes. Yeah, rarely do we actually get to talk about peripheral characters like that. I mean, this might be the only episode he is in. I'd have to double check that, but I mean, if he's in another one, it's a lot. But what did you observe?
So there's that interaction where Kramer and him have the argument over the bad fruit, so he bans him from the store, but then he gets very obsessed with other people are still buying fruit for Kramer.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think one of the things we could talk about here is something that, at least clinically, but it certainly could be reflected on the shelf exam too, is the clinicians, I don't want to say confusion, but needing to differentiate between paranoia and paranoid delusion. You want to, I'm going to take a stab at the difference? Because I think at the very least the discussion here for the shopkeeper is that he appears to be demonstrating paranoia. So, the difference? I'm sorry.
I'm not entirely sure, but paranoid delusion potentially is one specific delusion that you're considering constantly versus paranoia might be about more things or everything.
That is true. Mm-hmm. Why is it true? I think the answer is so intuitive. You guys are just skipping right over it.
Is it that the delusion's not based in reality?
That's true. Mm-hmm. Where paranoia could be, right? Yeah, and I see you both are saying the same thing. So to start out with the paranoid delusion, I think we have to remind ourselves that the emphasis is on the word delusion, which is what?
Like false.
Right? So again, don't let the definition of delusion escape you. And then once you understand that, then you could discuss the theme or subtype of the delusion, paranoid or persecutory is but one of five. Right? What are the other four?
Grandiose. Illusions.
JPEGs?
Erotomantic.
Jealous.
Missing one. Missing the S. Somatic. Right? So just again, for review, everybody's really speaking low today. I'm not sure if our mic picked it up. JPEGs, which is an acronym used to remember the 5 themes of delusion, includes jealous, persecutory or paranoid, erotomanic, grandiose, and somatic, JPEGs. Yeah. On the other hand, when the clinical descriptor of paranoia is used, it does not necessarily need to explain or characterize a delusion. Paranoia is a more abstract term, and it sometimes is interchangeable with the clinical term hypervigilance. Right. So, and again, not necessarily. So the individual does not necessarily need to have that defined breach in reality testing, the delusion, but otherwise is manifesting behavior that is being described as paranoid. So there's the difference. And at the very least, I mean, I don't know if the storekeeper's delusional. I don't know if he's psychotic. So he is likely paranoid, but not necessarily demonstrating a paranoid delusion. Right? All right. Any final comments, observations? We'll leave it here. We're going to give folks just a 5-minute break to log on your other Zoom link for our 9 o'clock didactic, and for everybody else, we'll be back at noon to discuss our film, The Rocky Horror Picture Show. We'll see everybody back then.